the fossil fuels that are out there.
Absolutely on target. Yep. And so when I look out and I see Al Gore going in that direction and trying to take the economy with it, then it is the right direction for a municipality to go in. As a matter of fact, I have just finished a letter to Al Gore that I'm writing, and the letter basically says, Al, I want to show you another way to make money. And my way of making money is not to just support the manufacturing side, but support the people that are going to buy what you're producing.
Right.
So I've come up with a combined housing commercial program that basically can be implemented by a municipality, and I've showed Mr. Gore in this letter 5 areas of profitability that can be taken from this kind of project by a municipality. So not only do I want you to fund the manufacturing facilities, I want you to finance this municipal money-making model. And I want you to come into the development process for residential and a commercial enterprise within this green, totally green, sustainable model.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a long shot, but guess what?
Yeah,
we're gonna take a run at it.
Yeah, you know what? It's almost like, listen, it's our risk management that we always had, that I think that the United States was built on. I think it's that agent for investment, for us to really take over our own destiny, and I think that's a perfect segue. But getting back to the Holiday Inn, though, I'm thinking, or the hotel, I'm thinking 2 things. Number one, is this the model? Because I'm looking at Peekskill and I say, is this the first one on the block in a sense? So it's important for Peekskill to get it right the first time, in that this will be for every other new existing, whether it's a home or, because many people think of green only in commercial aspects, why not even in a home aspect too? I mean, you hear about that going on, and I know there's, in a home aspect, because the homes are already built up, and 90% of your homes are probably more than 20 years or 10 years old, so it's kind of hard to retrofit, but there are little things that can go forward. Is this Holiday Inn the new model for Peekskill, and does it kind of set the record of how then you proceed as a councilman or the mayor or the municipality go forward?
Yeah, to me it represents where we should be looking to get jobs and opportunities for our citizens to go to work, number one. Number two, the Energy and Tax Credit Act, that John Hall has helped to bring in, basically sustains the standard in the sense of providing tax initiatives not only for the commercial side, but for home improvement,
so that's
so
already
the bill does come into the home improvement area. So that provides, even though it's a little expensive right now, with the tax credits, when you do your analysis over a period of time, you can recover that money now possibly within a reasonable period of time.
Sure, just like anything else. If you build only for a 1-year, 2-year term, it's probably a money loser. But if you look at the length of 5 and 10 and 20-year period, the building, the expenditure probably pays back for itself within half that time period, and then at that point, everything is gravy almost at that point. Why would the business owner not almost want to go down that path?
And that's the same as a private citizen looking at a car that has battery and electric. It's a sustainable car. I mean, that financial analysis is the same as a businessman would go through.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you want to take you can take an analogy of, let's say, or comparison of the Prius, which maybe goes for a little bit more, but look at now that it's getting 50 and 60 miles per gallon.
$5 a gallon.
At $5 a gallon, which seems like we're headed to.
Exactly.
You know what? Who's the smart person probably over the life of the 5 years, as you go down the road. So those are important issues we have to look at.
So again, the Holiday Inn will become a standard, and the fellow who's building it really has come to us and said, I want to be the highest standard of the LEED standards.
Yeah, LEED certification.
Yes, he's coming right up to the top standard. There are 2 below the one he's presently looking at. So we think it is a great model to go to.
And everything's moving along with that, as you stated.
I mean, we just finished our negotiation for his what I would call long-term tax agreement with the city, et cetera. So we're moving along very well.
Very good.
We should be there real soon.
Good.
And he's a very quick schedule kind of person.
Yeah,
So,
I know the owner very well. Yes, I know.
So he's kind of poking us along.
Yes,
come on,
yes,
keep
yes,
moving,
yes,
keep moving.
Yeah, today is already too
Right,
late for
right,
him. I know him very well.
And the other exciting thing going on right now is that we have a manufacturer a green manufacturer looking to come into Peekskill, and we are moving along quite well with him. But one of the developments that we've put in place since we've come into office is the use of something called Empire Zone. And Empire Zone really comes to be when somebody comes in and says to the state of New York, listen, I'm going to produce jobs. I'm going to give you a commitment for jobs. So in the particular case we're talking about, we have a 3-year commitment to produce 50 jobs, which falls into a category of Empire Zone. So what happens is not only can the city, through its bonding agency, provide some tax credits, but now the state of New York comes in and provides things like sales tax credits and capital investment credits and things like that. So what you have now is a full tool set that you could use for a businessman coming into Peekskill and saying, how can you help me? I have a couple of million that I want to invest, but I need to. So we have now 2 vehicles instead of just 1. Right. And the way this came off is basically we have an agreement with Yonkers now, who has an Empire Zone, and we have something, and I think we're called a regionally significant project. And under that heading, you can use the Empire Zone created in Yonkers and borrow some of that Empire Zone for Peekskill.
Oh, basically. I see. So in other words, let's say they're a fully operational Empire Zone, but maybe they're only going to use 70%, and they realize that there's excess. So you could almost piggyback off their.
Piggyback is the right term.
Right, off that thing. Is that right? Wow.
So in this particular case with our green manufacturer, we are going to make an application to see if we can help that person along a little more than we would normally be able to.
So it's also then the climate change in the sense that, and I don't mean climate as in weather, but in the climate change that it seems like you want to be more on the pro-business side of development in the city of Peekskill. That seems to be the way to go, or you know what I mean? It seems like what there's a need, well, not only is there the financial need for it, but there's also seems to be in the right place, the right time, and the right one. Like, for example, I'm sure there are maybe applications that maybe don't suit the purpose, but where there is the right one, you can screen it and say, you know what, this is one I think we should go for right away.
True. Right. And so basically, I think we're on the right track. And these are 2 major projects that I think are pointing in the right direction for Peekskill.
Sure.
I have some personal ideas that I've come to the plate with, so to speak, and the table. The riverfront in the city of Peekskill is probably the most beautiful riverfront on the Hudson River, and I believe is our largest asset in Peekskill. I think that over the years, the culture has said we want to preserve our riverfront and the beauty of our riverfront, and we perfectly understand that. So along with that, let me call it cultural, city, citizen decision, we've hired a consultant to come in and do a design effort for us to help us to reconfigure the riverfront. And of course, one of the big things going on is the walkway from New York City all the way up to Albany. Correct. And it'll come in across the river. So we're designing the walkway, but in the meantime, we're designing a very, very large parcel of land along our riverfront. There are many opportunities within that design to bring forward what I would call absolutely applicable destinations that would make people want to come to Peekskill to walk in our park specifically. Okay.
Sure. Would you say, are you talking about then a realignment of where the riverfront is, like the riverfront green area, or are you talking about from, let's say, riverfront down through where the marina is, and then north of the riverfront green, where it's kind of undeveloped, we'll call it, at this time?
Well, basically, there's a couple of different efforts going on. One is Peekskill Landing, which I'm sure you know where that is.
Correct.
And that land is being regenerated, if you will. There's a project now that'll be done in 6 months that will give us a buildable site, if you will. And the people that have taken care of us over the years, the Scenic Hudson folks, have agreed to certain building that we can do on that property. So coming from Peekskill Landing and moving down the river, a lot of that is where the redesign effort will take place. Okay.
Okay.
So with that, though, there are other opportunities that come into play, like Fleischmann's Pier. Right now, I'm working on something called the SS Columbia, and it's a very unique opportunity for Peekskill in the sense that this is a steamer passenger